Alright, this story looked really fucked up, but I am still curious enough to talk about it. Basically, there's this teacher, I don't know where specifically, but they were caught with AI porn of students, and he was thrown in prison. We've got a Law and Crime network video with Jesse Weber talking about it, so yeah, just jump right into this fucked up story, I guess.
The former teacher who used AI to create child sexual abuse material of real kids, including students at the school, has just been hit with his sentence, and it is something.
Volusia County. Do we know where that is? Volusia County? Former teacher sentenced to 135 years in prison. I imagine Jesse Weber's going to go into it in the video, but 135 years in prison, that communicates to me that he must have had a lot of counts of this AI child porn. That's fucking crazy. That is absolutely... Wow, we're already starting off really disgusting. Jesus fuck.
We are updating you on the latest on this case out of Florida and what message this sentence sends and whether this is the start of more sick cases to come. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Jesus fuck, dude.
Okay, real quick before we jump into this any further, the reason we can do a deep dive into this kind of story is because of the support that we get from our sponsor, Upside. Now, this is the...
Hell yeah. You know, we always have to watch all the sponsors from all the content creators we watch. You know, we're reacting to it, we might as well watch the sponsors, right?
Free app that gets you cash back on daily essentials like gas, groceries.
I mean, listen, you know, it's a fucked up story, but you gotta do what you gotta do, you know, to keep making money, right? Like, if you're gonna keep getting that secondhand trauma, you gotta make money off of it at the very least, right? Fuck it.
It is so easy to use. When I go pump my gas, I can use Upside. I go to a convenience store, I can use Upside. I grab a quick bite to eat, I can use Upside. And that's right, this is real cash back. After you spend, money appears in your Upside account that you can transfer right into your bank account. So here's what you do. You download the Upside app for free, you buy whatever you plan to purchase, you pay as usual with a debit or credit card, you file a claim in the app, and just like that, money back. So to find out how much you can save with Upside, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen, but make sure to use our promo code SIDEBAR because you'll get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. We talk about prison sentences for a lot of different crimes here on Sidebar, right? But wait until you hear what the sentence was for this very unusual, very disturbing, and I hate to say it, maybe start of what we may see more of in the future. I don't want to say it, I hate to say it, but this is the reality that we're living in now.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate reality is that AI is kind of the way of the world. Like, we've been seeing a lot of very degenerate uses of AI. You know, a good example of that, and I know the example I'm about to use kind of pales in comparison to what we're about to get into, but back in early 2023, there was a streamer named Atrioc who had a subscription to a bunch of deepfake pornography. Now, I think that's weird. I think that's gross. It's definitely disgusting. I think he deserved to be called out on it to some capacity. I will admit that Cutie Cinderella was, like, very performative when she responded to it. She, like, pretty much just went on stream crying about it. I'm like... Going on stream and crying is very, like, come on, you know what I mean? But I think that I don't know. I mean, I don't think Atrioc is, like, beyond redemption. I just think it's very gross. But then you can extrapolate that even further and make AI-generated child porn, which is fucking absolutely insane. The fact that he was able to get it is crazy. You want to know what I think? I'm willing to bet it was probably Grok. Like, how much you want to bet? Like, because there's no way ChatGPT would allow this to be used. There was no way that Copilot would allow this kind of stuff. Copilot's actually very sensitive on the amount of material you can talk about. But Grok is, like, programmed to not be politically correct and to push the boundaries a little bit. And we heard a story earlier, like a couple of weeks ago, where Grok asked, like, a 12-year-old boy to send nudes right in front of... his mother in, like, the Tesla car or whatever. So, like, I wouldn't doubt that, like, Grok is probably the main source of it. I guess we'll see if I'm right or wrong. But then again, it's not like I would know how to make child CP that's AI generated. I would never want to engage in that sort of thing ever.
I am talking about the former Central Florida elementary school teacher who was officially sentenced.
Central Florida. Bro... I I'm about to make a joke. It's like already fucking, like, that makes sense. Bro, people be fucking degenerate in Florida. They be catching so many predators in Florida. I don't know what it is. There's just so many of them. They, like, if you, like, because there's a law in Florida where if you catch, like, a sex offender or somebody commits a crime and they get arrested, I think you are legally required to, like, put it online and have people, to have the public to know about it. And that applies to predators a lot. When they do, like, the predator sting operations in Florida, it is no different in Florida. Like, they be catching them in, like, the dozens. There's so many in Florida, and this is, I guess, no different.
For using AI, artificial intelligence, to create sexually explicit material of real children. This is a
That's so fucked up, dude.
new day and age. This couldn't have happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago. This is a new reality. And maybe when I tell you what this sentence is, it will hopefully deter anyone from doing something like this in the future.
I highly doubt it. I feel like if anything, like, making this video might expose people to that kind of material even more, because you could be potentially giving, like, a predator that might be watching this video an idea to be like, okay, this is how I could make a video going forward, or this is how I could generate my own CP that I could get off to without getting caught in, like, a sting operation in person. It's extremely fucked up. I quite frankly think we need more regulations on AI. I think we need to tax the fuck out of it. There's so many problems that come with AI. Like, listen, I think AI is a useful tool. I use it as, like, a tool, and it is helpful, but there's no denying that there's a lot of harm that comes from it. And, like, I quite frankly think we need to tax the fuck out of it. And also we need to, like, ban AI CP, or, like, crack down on it at the very least.
About David McEwen. We've spoken about him before here on Sidebar.
Really? So is this not the first time?
Go back to the summer. That is when Florida Attorney General James Othmeier's Office of Statewide Prosecution charged McEwen with 1 count of aggravated possession of child pornography, 18 counts of possession of child pornography, and 6 counts of sexual conduct with an animal.
This guy is fucking disgusting. With an animal? So not only is he a pedophile, or an alleged one, but he's also a fucking zoophile as well. All right. Wow.
Yeah.
We're starting off strong.
So this investigation began on June 2nd, 2025, after the Holly Hill Police Department got a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This is an amazing organization, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. They do a lot of really good work with catching these motherfuckers.
Because they alert law enforcement when there are reports of not only children who disappear, but also sexual exploitation of children on the internet in particular. Now, McEwen was arrested by the Holly Hill Police Department. He was a 6th grade teacher at UBIC.
Oh, that is absolutely pedophilia. Jesus Christ. 6th grade? If you're in 6th grade, you are like, I think you're like 11 years old. So he was doing this with children under the age of, that's so fucked up. This is really disgusting.
Academy in Holly Hill, that is United Brethren in Christ. They get word that this teacher was using AI technology to create child sexual abuse material involving actual real children, including those who even attended the school where he...
Yeah, the 6th graders that he would teach. That's so fucking disgusting, dude. That's so fucked up.
Taught. UBIC Academy.
Holy fuck, dude.
Read directly from the AG office's release at the time. Quote, initial search warrants revealed that McEwen was disseminating, downloading, and communicating with users on Discord.
Discord? Wait, really?
A popular group chat service during school hours and while connected...
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because Discord has, like, historically been a huge breeding ground for a lot of grooming to happen, but still.
...to the UBIC Academy Wi-Fi. During these exchanges, he shared 19 images of CSAM, this is child sexual abuse material, and 9 images of himself engaging in sexual acts with the family pet.
This guy is, there is something really wrong with this guy. Like, not only is he a pedophile, but he's also a zoophile as well. This guy is fucking nasty.
We're talking a whole other level here, folks.
Holy fuck, dude.
And the digital trail back to him was devastating, clearly. In fact, according to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, back on June 20th, they released a statement explaining how both the Holly Hill Police Department and agents from FDLE's Orlando Cybercrime Task Force, quote, served a search warrant at McEwen's residence. FDLE provided use of electronic storage device K9 Ruby during the search of McEwen's residence. K9 Ruby assisted in locating several devices within the residence, which were seized for forensic analysis. HHPD officers served a second search warrant at UBIC Academy, where additional electronic devices were seized.
So he had multiple, like, I assume when they say electronic devices, I assume that's either likely laptops or like USBs, because I remember there was another case a while back with Larry Nasser. He was the infamous and disgraced what's his name, doctor for the gymnastics coach, where he would sexually abuse like multiple girls. Most of them were underaged. And I think one of the girls was as young, I'm not even kidding. He was like a family friend to this one family, and he sexually abused a girl as young as 6. It's really disgusting and fucked up. And they did like a trash sweep, and apparently they found like tons, like a flash drive with tons of fucking sex abuse material on it, and it's really sick and disgusting. It's very nasty, and it's gross shit. It's so fucked up, dude. So, like, he probably had, like, a USB that had all this AI-generated CP on it. It's really... I mean, shout out to fucking law enforcement for getting on this guy's ass so he can't fucking harm anyone else, because this is extremely fucked up.
Now, unsurprisingly, UBIC fired him, released a statement to the school community that the administration was, quote, shocked and deeply grieved by the serious allegations of misconduct against him. In fact, the school announced it was closing for the rest of the year after all this came out. And something that the FDLE noted was that this was all happening in the wake of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signing into effect Brooks Law. Florida has taken a
Wait, what the fuck is Brooks Law?
very aggressive stance against this. Now, when it comes to Brooks Law, as described by the Florida Senate, quote, the bill revises provisions of Florida's deepfake law to require covered platforms, such as websites and online services, to remove altered sexual depictions and copies of such depictions from their platform upon request of the victim. The bill requires such platforms to establish a process for persons to notify them of deepfake depictions and request their removal. The bill...
I wonder if there's like a loophole with this where, like, because... I don't know, man. I know this is going to sound really disgusting and fucked up, but, like, I wonder if there's going to be, like, a loophole with this particular law where, like, if you do it of a child and the child, it could go one of two ways. One, the child can't consent, and therefore the person who made the CP AI generated of the child wouldn't be able to get caught with this law, but it would still count as CP, so it would count as a different law anyways, I guess. So I guess technically that doesn't work. But also, another really fucked up loophole that could happen with this law is because the child can't consent until they're, like, at least 18 years old to a lot of things, including any, like, legal matters and stuff, then if they're not 18 yet, could they not be able to request removal on this whatsoever? Is that, like, a weird loophole that could happen? I could be totally, like, not understanding that completely, and I could be totally wrong on that, but I do wonder if that's, like, a weird loophole that defense lawyers could use. It might not be a good one, but I could be totally wrong.
Requires the platforms.
It's really fucked up, and it shouldn't be that way, but, you know, the U.S. law is far from perfect. There's a lot of shit that can slip through the cracks.
To remove such content within 48 hours of receiving a request, provides liability protections for platforms that act in good faith, establishes penalties for failure to comply, and makes such failures a violation of the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act. The bill provides an exception for certain information or telecommunication services and certain online services that do not primarily consist of user-generated content. Now, at the time of McEwen's arrest, AG James Uthmeyer said in a statement, quote, as a teacher, parents trusted Mr. McEwen to impart knowledge to their children. Instead, he spent parts of the school day sending and receiving child sexual abuse material and providing other pedophiles with UBIC Academy students' personal information.
That's so fucked up, dude. I can't imagine being the parents of the children that go to this school, knowing that your student attended his class, and then this teacher was exchanging information to other fucking pedophiles about the student information. That would anger any fucking parent, and rightfully so. They deserve to be fucking angry at this kind of shit. This is so fucked up.
What he did is beyond betrayal.
Dude, God, I'm actually getting, like, really angry listening to this. This is so fucked up, dude.
It is devastating and sick. Our Office of Statewide Prosecution will aggressively pursue justice for these children and their parents.
Bro, I would be so fucking angry if I was the parent of a child that was at the face of this shit. I would be so fucking angry.
This all brings us to what just happened. This is the update. So McEwen ended up pleading no contest on all the charges, accepting conviction, doesn't really admit guilt, but accepts conviction. He enters an open plea, meaning the judge is going to decide the sentence here. He's adjudicated guilty on all the counts. Can't say I'm not surprised considering the digital trail leading right back to him.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way he could, like, get out of this unless he, like, used some technicality. But even then, I feel like the evidence is so overwhelming against him. If there's literal Discord logs and the, I guess, trail that leads back to the AI-generated CP, like, it's fucked up, dude. It's like it's very gross, and I'm just glad that this guy can no longer harm children and make AI generated CP anymore. I'm very glad that this fucking disgusting predator pedophilic motherfucker is getting locked up, and zoophile as well. Can't forget that either. That's another one I was not expecting.
I think it's a fair estimation that if he took it to trial, if he took it in front of a jury, he would have been found guilty. But what is his sentence? What is his sentence for all of this? So you have the CSAM and you have his conduct with an animal. What was his sentence? 135 years in prison.
He's definitely dying in prison, that's for sure. Ain't no way he's gonna get there.
Say that again. 135 years in prison. That's what was handed down by Circuit Judge A. Christian Miller. And Judge Miller designated McEwen a sexual offender, also ordered that he not be allowed any animals. All of this once his 135-year sentence is complete, although I gotta say, I don't think McEwen has to worry about any of that because, by all accounts, he's gonna die in prison.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this motherfucker looks older than Santa Claus, so he's dying there.
Now, the Attorney General said this, quote,
I would say good luck, but I don't wish good luck to pedophiles, so...
The abuse and trauma this predator inflicted is sick, and he deserves every moment of this sentence. We will
I tend to agree.
Always seek the longest sentence possible for anyone who harms innocent children or defenseless animals.
This guy was so fucked up. This guy must have had, like, a huge attraction to, like, innocent things. And that, I don't know, like, how it manifests. I would be curious to hear, like, a psychologist's take on this. On, like, how this attraction manifests in both animals and in children. Like, is he just, like, that evil? Does he just enjoy inflicting that much pain? Like, what about it? What about animals or children turns you on? I don't understand. Like, what about that gets you going?
Thanks to Senior Assistant Statewide Prosecutor Emily Frazier and the...
Like, does he have, like, a kink in things that have an innocence to them? Is that, like, part of it, too? I don't fucking know, dude. Like, I need to, like, hear a psychologist's take on this.
Hill Police Department. This criminal has been brought to justice and will not be allowed to harm another child or animal again. Talk about sending a message, okay? Now, here's the question. Is this going to stop people in the future? The conversation doesn't end here, because with this sentence, I want to know, is this just the start? Will we see more of this? What effect does this case have? And by the way, could this guy ever get out? Let me bring on Dave Arenberg, former Palm Beach County State Attorney, friend of the show, friend of mine. Dave, good to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time. Before we get started, you're like in a million different things right now, but it's your Substack that you recently launched that is getting a lot of attention. And tell everybody where they can find you and what you're putting up on Substack before we get into this.
Jesse, thank you, brother. I have a Substack. It's Dave Arenberg, Davearonberg, and I do at least a video a day, and we talk about some of the big legal news of the day. It's the rip from the national headlines, like the bombing of the narco-trafficking boats. Is that legal? The disqualification of Lindsey Halligan, the special prosecutors, and the
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the bombing of the narco boats in Venezuela is proportionate, even if it is like technically legal. If it was, I just don't find that particularly reasonable to be bombing people for the usage of drugs, because if by that logic you did it to them, you would have to do it to plenty of people in the United States of America, and we all know that's very silly. So, but that's a whole separate topic. Like, we don't even have to get into politics in this video, because that's not really what this is about.
James case. So we do a lot of the headline legal analysis, and love to see you there. And occasionally we'll do some true crime, but I try to save my best true crime for you, Jesse Weber, because you deserve it.
Very, very kind of you. I wish we had a different case to talk about, but honestly,
Yeah.
this is just, I think this is an important case. I really, really do, because we're...
I agree. I mean, like, not only is it a conversation about how we can prevent predators from going forward, how we can catch them more efficiently, but also it's another conversation about how, like, I would say this is the worst case scenario for AI, easily. Like, we could talk about AI taking our jobs away, which is a problem, don't get me wrong. It's a problem that, like, AI is taking away our jobs. We could talk about, people non-consensually getting deep-faked with AI, which I think is generally an issue. But this is the worst case scenario, easily. Like, deep-fake child porn of AI. Like, this is, like, I don't think it gets any worse than this.
Different age now. I said it before, I'll say it again. This is the type of crime that couldn't exist, 10 years ago. And I'm worried that this is now the start, because we're already kind of seeing some of this. Dave, let me start here. 135 years. 135 years. Two questions. Is this the sentence that you expected? And is there any way possible this guy gets out of prison?
No, definitely not. I mean, I guess if he were to do, like, community service work, maybe, or, like, good behavior, which would be fucked up, but, we're talking about the legal system here. We're not talking about if morally he should be let out, which really sucks to say.
He's going to die in prison. He will receive 85%.
I fucking hope so.
Of the 135 years. There is no parole in Florida. We did away with that years ago. And so he is stuck there for 85% of the 135 years. And if you do the quick math in your head, it means he's going to die in prison. So this guy ain't going anywhere, and it should send a strong message to everyone in Florida that we're going to take this seriously. You can try to hide behind that this is just AI, but when you're dealing with kids and you're dealing with your family pet, those are two things that no one has any tolerance for.
Absolutely, and they shouldn't, because animals are innocent. There is no context in which you should be doing anything sexual with an animal whatsoever. Like, there's absolutely no context that can justify that. I guess if you're YMS, you could justify it. You could be like, your movie sucks, and be like, well, actually, a dog was, like, humping the leg, and that's all the information I need to know that the dog is trying to do a sex act with me. Actually, it's, they could fuck a human easily.
And just to be clear, even though he pled no contest, and even though he agreed to an open plea, right?
And same for children as well. I forgot to bring that part up too.
Where the judge, he's saying, judge, sentence me to what you will, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about with an open plea, unless I'm wrong. There's no way he can appeal that and say, yeah, I agreed to an open plea, but 135 years is not reasonable. He can't appeal that? You tell me. I'm not 100% sure.
He can try to appeal it, but it ain't going anywhere because...
No. I think I think the law, as well as the people around him, recognize how much of a threat to society this motherfucker is. Ain't no way he's stepping out of prison. And also, in prison, good fucking luck. I'm sure that tons of people in prison are gonna attempt to murder this guy. Because pedophiles, like, people like this are not respected in prison. But the fact that he did sex acts with animals and children in addition to that is... It's going to create a whole new hell for this guy, and deservedly so. He absolutely deserves every bit of it.
An open plea is this. So you don't trust the jury because you know the jury is going to be inflamed by these passions. You don't trust prosecutors to give you a deal. Prosecutors aren't offering you a good deal to accept. So you say, you know what, I'm going to go to the judge. I'm going to go around these people, go to the judge. Your Honor, I plead guilty to you. No contest to you, and you're a judge. You're not supposed to be influenced by the whims of the public and polls and public sentiment and passions. So just follow the evidence and law and give me what I deserve. And the judge threw the book at him. I gotta believe that if they knew in advance that they would get 135 years from the judge, they would never have pled up to the court, because in doing so, it really does cut the knees off of your appeal. And this guy, like I said, is going to die in prison.
I think the one good thing about these kinds of people is that they're very stupid. They're not exactly particularly very educated, and they don't cover their tracks very well, so it makes them more susceptible to getting caught, and that's, I think, a good thing. So that's like the one, I guess, silver lining throughout this entire fucked up situation.
Be clear, is this to send a message? Is this to deter future conduct? Because let's be clear, AI technology is going to get more advanced, and I'm concerned that it's going to become easier and easier to create this content. And by the way,
yeah, I mean, it already has. Like, I'm part of Papa Guts community, and like we use Grok, and we don't do it maliciously. We've used, like, me and some other like people in Papa Guts community have used Grok to like make very silly videos of like Papa Gut. Like, I don't know. Sometimes he'll get out of his chair, he'll use like an AR and shoot, like, I guess, I don't know, he'll be in like a Call of Duty game or something, or we'll just make Papa Guts say like very silly things, and it's very scary how realistic it looks, and it's only going to get not only better looking, so it's going to look more realistic, but it's also going to be more accessible to people. And if it gets into the wrong hands, and clearly this AI material got into the wrong hands, it's only gonna further set a really bad precedent. We, like, the U.S. government, as well as, like, just every state, needs to, like, start making laws against AI, or make some sort of regulations on AI, because it's becoming a massive problem, and we're seeing it very clearly.
he wasn't just sentenced for
We could definitely start by taxing the fuck out of it.
that. He was also sentenced for what he did with the pet, which is disgusting to say in and of itself.
Awful.
But
Awful.
the point is this to send a message? Will it deter future conduct? Is it a message to those out there, do not do this?
It is a message. Will it resonate? Will it affect people? You have people who are really mentally ill. I mean, who have this sickness, and they're out there, even though the laws are very harsh. You know, when it comes to child pornography, it's one of the few areas where we're going to treat the possessor as seriously as the distributor. I mean, the possessor will get a hard time. Generally, you know, if it's drugs, for example, the user will get a slap on the wrist sometimes, a drug court, rehabilitation, while it's the trafficker who gets hit with serious penalties. Well, here...
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, like, these are two separate scenarios. Like, when it comes to drugs, like, you shouldn't distribute drugs and you shouldn't do drugs. I don't encourage it. But drugs and child porn are two levels, they are two separate worlds entirely. Like, I don't think someone who does drugs, or hell, I don't even know if someone who distributes drugs necessarily is like a morally reprehensible person. Like, necessarily. Like, you shouldn't do it. I wouldn't say that it's like a good thing to do. It's not like you deserve the pit of hell like these fucking child predators do, or I guess these animal predators too.
When it comes to child porn, we want to protect the kids, and so we want to go after the demand side, not just the supply side. And yet people still do it. And they...
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, if this guy is religious at all, who knows if he is, but if he is, he's going to hell. He is going to burn in hell, and he's going to deserve every bit of it. I'm not even religious, and I'm saying that. Like, this guy, there is a special place in hell for people like this.
do it because they're sick. And they should be treated harshly, because that is not an excuse. That's not a justification where they should just get treated with rehabilitation. This is such an important thing for society that we need to combat it in the most serious way. These are the type of people who should not be on the streets. And this guy wasn't just on the streets. He was teaching at a school.
Yeah, no, 100%. And also, like, here, about rehabilitation, I am open to the conversation about somebody who might be a pedophile, who doesn't engage with CSAM material, or doesn't try to meet up with a kid to have sex with them, or hasn't even, like, tried to talk to a kid in that way, who might have that attraction, but doesn't offend, but tries to, like, seek help through, whether it's through therapy or, like, through somebody else, to try to, like, maybe deal with that in some way. I'm open to that conversation. I'm open to, like, it's still fucked up and it's still disgusting, but, like, I think there is a route for rehabilitation for non-offending pedophiles. People who don't try to put children in danger, but they have that compulsion that they can't help. But the moment you cross that point of no return, the moment you try to, like, fuck a child, or the moment you try to, like, engage in CSAM material, the moment you cross that point of no return, like, fuck you. Like, all charitability is gone. Like, you deserve, like, the fucking wood chipper.
He was doing this stuff with this illicit material during school hours. He was connected to the school's Wi-Fi network. So
it's really fucked up. He could also get in a weird way, he could also get the school in trouble too. Like, optically, I could see that the school optically could look really bad from this, because they didn't, like, sift through the cracks sooner on him.
I do think that for perhaps where it will change things is that teachers and others who are involved in this, and it's few and far between, will think twice before they use their school's Wi-Fi network to disseminate, download, and communicate this kind of disgusting material.
Thank God that predators are really fucking stupid people, because they create a paper trail behind them that allows them to get caught. Thank God. If they were smart predators, who knows how long this could have gone on for.
By the way, they had him dead to rights. Is that why he pled no contest here? Well, two parts to this. Why didn't he take this to trial? Is it because there was really no argument? I mean, the digital trail led right back to him. And why no contest versus guilty?
Well, because the court allowed him to plead no contest, because that sounds better than a guilty plea. But in the end, he's still convicted, and he's going to be in prison forever. So it's really a distinction here without a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would have made much of a difference either way. Even if he pled guilty or if he got the conviction with, no contest. I'm not a legal expert, so I could be getting this wrong. But, like, either way, no matter which route he took, there's absolutely no way he was getting out of this. Unless he, like, fled the country or something. I don't fucking know. But, I guess at that point, would Interpol deal with it at that point? Again, I'm not a legal expert, but I guess Interpol would get involved if he tried to, like, flee the country. And thank God he didn't, though.
Still tried to appeal, saying that the judge acted improperly in making his decision. But when you plead to the court, it's much harder to appeal this than if you can argue about how there were defects in a trial that never happened here, or that the jury did something improper, a jury that didn't exist here. So he rolled the dice, and it came up snake eyes.
And again, he would have been found guilty. In my opinion,
Sure.
my legal opinion, he would have been found guilty very easily if he took us to trial. I don't understand something. 135 years, has to serve 85%, right? Unless he's found the fountain of youth somewhere, why even say, okay, once you're released, once you get out?
Do you guys believe in the fountain of youth? Do you guys think that the fountain of youth really exists? Who knows, man? The world may never know.
You're designated a sex offender and you can't be near animals. I'm not understanding that. Why do you even have to put that in the sentence? He's like you said, he's going to die in prison unless I'm missing something.
No, well, it's part of the process. Whenever you have a term of years, you still have that parole on the other side. You just don't know. Maybe something gets overturned on appeal, and so then he gets to get out, but at least the probation part can remain. I mean, you have to just go through the process, assuming that, you just don't know. Maybe there is a pill that comes out in 30 years that allows you to live for an extra 60 years. Who knows? But you're just crossing your T's, dotting your I's, even though we know he's going to die in prison. Also, if there was a pill, if there was a fountain of youth, he's not finding it, because I don't think prisoners would be the first.
Let's fucking hope not. He deserves every moment in prison for the rest of his life. He is an absolute disgusting, horrific individual.
Ones to get it. And also, he's the kind of guy who has actually had some hard living. I mean, if you see the picture of him, it's not like he's looking like Tom Cruise at his age.
Well, you think about what his life will be like behind bars, and it brings it to
I mean, the prisoners are definitely not going to take a liking to him. They're probably going to try to murder him. I certainly am not going to feel bad for him. I'll tell you that much.
Question here. I mentioned before Brooks Law. Florida has taken a very aggressive stance against deepfake videos, and particularly now if you're talking about creating artificial videos of actual children engaging in sexual conduct or sexually explicit material. It's pretty disgusting to say. Can you talk to us about that a little bit more, the stance that Florida has taken, Brooks Law a little bit more, and how this might affect cases like this?
Yeah, the reason why Florida was so proactive here is because this happened to Brooke Curry. That's the daughter of a former mayor of Jacksonville, former head of the Republican Party in Florida. So very well connected, and she was victimized by a deepfake image that was created using her likeness without her consent while she was a minor. And so here you had something similar where you have...
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're a minor definitely makes it worse, but, like, you shouldn't sexualize people in deepfakes, period. I still think it's very wrong, even if they were a legal adult. It makes it worse that they were a child when it happened, but, like, I just don't think that sexualizing people without their consent in, like, a deepfake pornography video is morally good whatsoever. Now, if it's a case like Atrioc, I would say that rehabilitating is possible. I think he's already rehabilitated, and I think he's learned from his mistakes, so I don't consider Atrioc like a horrific predator from it, but I still think what he did was very wrong, and he absolutely needed to own up to it and, like, stop his behavior, absolutely.
This teacher who's using real individuals, creating these deepfakes of child pornography based on them. So this would apply here, but this is a civil law. This is not a criminal law. And what it does, it has obligations on what's called covered platforms. These are websites, social media apps that provide a forum for this kind of stuff. And there's a mandatory takedown process, and you have a 48-hour removal window once you get a valid request. And then if you don't, there are penalties. Now, it's not criminal, as I said, but you can get hit with like $10,000 of actual damages, or you can get
I feel like $10,000 in damages is nothing. Can you imagine if the person is rich? They would be able to afford that nothing. So, like, you would have rich pedophiles running all over the place. And we kind of already do in the White House right now.
lawsuit hit against you, which is going to be more. So at the very least, for every image you could get hit, this could really add up. So it is in the incentive of these.
I mean, he had many counts of it, which means that the amount of time he would spend in prison went up, and he's just gonna he's gonna die in prison. Like, there's just no shot that he stays around long enough.
To take it down. Now here you had Discord. Could they get sued? Yeah, possibly. It depends on the facts, how much they knew, how much they should have known.
Is it becoming easier to not only create this material, but to disseminate it? You talked about a platform like Discord. I mean, here, you have to wonder, if it wasn't for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children who flagged this, would law enforcement have found it? Would it have been on their radar?
Yes, but law enforcement is handicapped by limited resources and limited people, and that's why it's important to have civilians empowered to help root this out. That's why we say, if you see something, say something. And would law enforcement eventually have found it? I think so. This guy was pretty blatant. He was doing it during work hours at the school, using the school's Wi-Fi, I think, eventually. But thankfully, we got him off the streets earlier because of some amazing private citizens who investigated this and reported it to the cops.
Oh, that's lovely. That's good. So it must have... He really sucked at, like, keeping his or covering his tracks if the civilians were able to track it. Like, because my theory was that, like, law enforcement had already suspected this guy, or they already had, like, a trail on this guy, maybe via, like, the Discord server, like, somebody there might have been a cop or whatever. But no, it was actually civilians who, like, took track of this and they reported it to the cops, which communicates to me that this guy really fucking sucked at covering his tracks.
What about in the future, the future, the material that is shared? There's obviously liability, like you said, person who creates it, potentially liability for a platform that houses it, but the people who retain it and get it, what about them? I mean, you wonder, is there a way to even track that? Who has access to this? Who downloads this material that's shared by somebody who creates it?
Yeah, law enforcement is out there every day acting as underage individuals and seeing who takes the bait. And so they're very proactive.
Yeah, sting operations. And that's generally, like, a good thing. I don't feel bad for the predators that engage in this sort of behavior.
Proactive to see who these individuals are who are asking for inappropriate pictures, who are...
God, this situation is so fucked up, man. It's just, like, I could get angry, but I just don't think I have any anger left to give. Like, I'm so black-pilled at shit like this. This is so incredibly fucked up.
Trying to engage in illegal sexual activities or to try to groom these young people. I mean, they're out there, and we have prosecuted them in my old office. The feds, prosecutors, you see from so many cases where the penalties are very tough here. And the penalties should be tough because, unfortunately, you can't catch everyone. And the hope is that enough of these sentences are out there to send the message. But as I said to begin this with, that you can have all these proactive initiatives out there, and yet people will still do it because there's something in their brain that it says, I'm going to disregard all this other stuff because they want to...
Because they're thinking about sex. They're attracted to, like, all that's on their mind, all that goes through their mind is just sex. Like, whether it's the sex with the animal in this guy's case or the sex with a child in this guy's case as well, like, it doesn't matter. Like, they don't care about law enforcement. They want to engage in it, and they think they're not going to get caught in the moment. But they absolutely do eventually.
These images.
And there's probably plenty of more predators out there waiting to be exposed. I'm letting you know.
That's why it's important to go after not just the supply, but the demand, because you have to go after these individuals. These people, if they don't get what they are looking for, they will either find it somewhere else or they'll create it themselves and be a generator of these images. And so that's why it's really damaging to the public, to young people, to animals, our pets. And I'm glad that law enforcement here was able to get a conviction here that this guy will die in prison.
And real quick before I let you go, parents that are watching this and saying, this guy was a former teacher? He was at the school making content of the kids there. I mean, what are they supposed to do in terms of, I cover these cases all the time about educators
and I think what's extra fucked up about this is, like, he could have distributed that sex material anywhere across the web. Like, those people, like the pedophiles that he was in communication with, we don't know where they are. They could be in the US or they could be in another country for all we know, and they could have received, it's too late. For all we know, the sexual abuse material, they already have possession of their child, and there's not a goddamn thing they can do about it because or that the parents can do about it, because the fucking material has already been distributed. And that's what makes this especially fucked up and really just, like, so, like, unforgivable. Because it's like, they have those, like, pedophiles overseas could have this material. Or it could be on the dark web indefinitely. Like, who fucking knows, man? Like, any number of things could happen the moment you send it to some who fucking knows what on Discord. It's just so, it's upsetting, man. I would be so furious if I was the parents of these children.
Administrators and teachers acting badly. I mean, this one stands out for all different kinds of reasons. How are they supposed to protect their children in today's day and age at schools?
Well, they have to also realize it's also coming into their homes. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that I educate parents about, is that there's a lot of misinformation about this stuff. They think that the big threat out there, you see groups out there that say you got to watch out, the southern border, they're going to steal your kids and kidnap them. But really, the bigger threat is that these individuals will come into your homes through the internet, and your kids will be on these websites and give their information or be lulled into sending pictures to these folks who portray themselves as fellow young people. And you got to be vigilant, and you got to know what sites your kids are on. I'll bet you a lot of parents, they know Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably ideal, but unfortunately parents just don't supervise their kids enough. I know there are a couple, like, millennial and Gen Z parents that are trying to do a better job of it, but who knows how long that's going to last for, because kids be doing shit behind their parents' back all the time, so it's hard to regulate it 24/7.
But do they know Discord? Do they know Kick? Do they know all these other sites that their kids could be on? Some of the gaming apps allow you to interact with individuals who will come in there and become groomers. So it's very important to know that, yes, there is kidnapping across the southern border, but that's more Hollywood than reality. What is real is the stuff is coming inside your home through the internet.
Yeah, definitely.
Barenberg, thank you so much for coming on to explain a little bit more about this. Hope everybody checks out your Substack, where you can talk about all the big legal issues of the day, but always appreciate you taking the time, sir.
Thank you, Jesse. Great show.
And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. You can follow me on X or Instagram. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.
What a fucked up situation. Holy hell, dude.